I always try to attend Hort Night at the West Central Research and Outreach Center in Morris. It is a great opportunity to go hear educational seminars and visit with plant-loving friends. Last year, there were some people from the Staples area who told me about the Living Legacy Gardens and encouraged us to visit. Tom and I later stopped in on the way back from a family gathering. It was great, so I contacted Tammy Rick, and here we are. Thanks, Tammy, for letting us come.
I'm so glad you were able to make a visit to Living Legacy Gardens, Mary.
Please tell me, what are the Living Legacy Gardens?
Living Legacy Gardens is a public garden that was started 25 years ago. You're located here on Central Lakes College's Ag and Energy Center, and this corner of the farm kind of sat unused, and the woman that was the secretary for the farm decided it would be a great place to have a garden established. And so she was a master gardener, and she went ahead and applied for a grant and was awarded that. And so from there on, it started 25 years ago.
So how did the gardens actually get started?
So this space laid kind of unused, like I said, and so they hired a landscape architect and they laid out the plans for it. They also were able to get some really good infrastructure, like old street lights from the city of Staples, and the pavers that you'll see on the brick pathways came from the roundhouse at the Staples Railroad Station. And so 25 years ago it was started, and since then it's been just a public garden open 24/7.
What are the goals or the achievements of the garden?
The goal of the garden when it was started was to demonstrate and educate the public on Zone 3 and 4 plants.
So how big are the gardens now as compared to how they started?
They've actually stayed about the same size because the blueprint, the footprint, kind of had to stay the same. The garden that you see here is about 5 acres, but we consider Living Legacy Gardens to be about 10 acres in size because to the south of us there is a native prairie planting area that's about 5 acres also. A little bit of walk across the yard, but for the garden here it's 5 acres.
So when did you come to the gardens and what is your role?
I came in 2017, so this is my 8th season here, and I'm considered the garden manager. So I get the fun of getting to plan and weed and plant, do garden tours, different things that are involved with managing a garden.
What are the different areas of the gardens?
Well, we're standing in what we consider the middle or the center of the garden, and this has the nice grassy area, it has the pond and the little stream there. Off to the left of here, to the west, is the shade garden, and then across the driveway is the herb garden, a fountain, and then on the other side is where we have the children's gardening program.
How do you decide what to plant each year?
Well, that's the fun part. I mean, as a plant fanatic, I get to kind of plan throughout the winter and into the spring, looking at other people's gardens, watching gardening shows, going to greenhouses, looking at gardening magazines, and so I just get inspiration from that. Of course, we're constrained a little bit by the Zone 3 and 4. We need to pay mind to that, but yeah, it's fun. It's a great, I mean, when you're a plant fanatic, like, could you get a better job than getting to do that? No.
I think when I came in, I saw a sign that said AAS. Can you explain that?
Yes, AAS stands for All America Selections, and about 5 years ago, Living Legacy Gardens applied and was accepted as a display garden. AAS is an independent testing organization, so let's say there was 10 new varieties of broccoli that were developed. A breeder could submit their seeds, AAS would grow them out in their trial gardens, and then they would pick what they thought were the best of the best. And so maybe you've sometimes seen that little symbol AAS in a seed catalog or in a nursery, and that just helps you discern between all the different ones that are there. So for Living Legacy Gardens, in the fall of the year, we get sent a beautiful box of seeds, and they're all AAS varieties. Some are the new ones from that year, and some are from the previous years. And then we also get a couple flats of plugs in the spring too. So that really helps with the cost of planting. As we know, annuals are expensive. We do get some vegetable varieties too that we'll use in the children's garden, but most of them are annuals.
Then do you have to report back on how the plants do, or does somebody come out and evaluate?
They don't do that here because we're a display, not a trial garden. But we are required to send them a photograph of at least one bed that has several of their varieties in it, and then they send us these very nice signs that we put on stakes, and then we can identify for the public what those are. Because if a person comes and sees a plant and they think it's great, we want to be able to have them know what variety that is so they could try it in their own garden.
Do you start a lot of the plants yourself, or where do you get them from?
We do both. we don't have a greenhouse per se in our office or anywhere here. So we have just a plain old 3-shelf rack with shop lights on it, and I start almost all the annuals that you see in pots in our office in the spring. And it's a lot of work, but man, it's worth it when you get the varieties that you want. And it's a huge money savings for the garden also. But then we also shop everywhere. Like, we go to some nurseries, but then we go to places like Home Depot, Menards, because I think it's important if we're going to demonstrate to the public, we want to have those plants accessible to people too. And so people shop at those places. So let's pick places that they'd be able to find the same varieties.
What are the criteria for the perennials that you have here?
Yeah, so of course the biggest constrainer is the zone that we're in and our cold winters. So we recently transitioned to a zone 4, although I personally still think we're a lot zone 3. And so if you really want to have a guarantee, you better still stick with the zone 3 plants. However, I think as a demonstration education garden, it's nice to try some things that are outside the realm. For instance, we have a rose garden that's only 2 years old, and we tried some zone 5 roses, and they made it. Surprisingly, but we did cover them with a slab of straw, but they didn't come up until July. Now, if I'd been like not quite as busy, I probably would have dug them up and thrown them away thinking they weren't coming, but they did come. So anyway, I think for the most part, we stick within our zone, but I also think it's fun to try some other things, because if you're an experienced gardener, right, you want to try some new things or experiment in some different areas that maybe you haven't before.
So how do you label everything?
Yeah, that's when I came here 8 years ago, there was a lot of old plant signs, and many of them were correct, but many of them weren't, because plants move on, plants die, plants get moved. And so that was one of my goals, was to label as much as we can. It's still a work in progress, but we were able to get a plant sign that of course showed the common and the scientific name, and then also has a QR code. And so if you scan that QR code with your phone, it will pull up information I've entered that's photos, planting information, in case you want to put that into your own garden.